rocking.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah. What is going on, everybody? Hello and welcome, beautiful people, to On the Pipe podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepardson, and today is Tuesday, February the 14th, 2023, years after zero, and it is Big Buck Week. It is GNCC week. The GNCC gets started this weekend, and it's going to be an action-packed one with everybody healthy back out on that front line, and we could not be any more excited than we are. Hope you're excited too, because there's a lot that's going to be going on. There's a lot that's going to happen this weekend, and there's a lot that we're going to have to talk about going forward because racing is in full steam. It's full effect. It's here. Everything's here, especially after this weekend concludes. So, very excited about GNCC. Very excited about that happening. Today is Valentine's Day. So if you're listening to this, I appreciate you joining me. Appreciate you being here for OTP Tuesday. I guess might as well just get the monkey off our back and address last week. Sorry. We had a surprise guest lined up for Tuesday. That surprise guest was going to be Zachary Osborne. Hoping to catch it right at the right time after he got second place at the first U.S. Sprint Enduro, and then heading into another U.S. Sprint Enduro this weekend and GNCC, or by this weekend I mean this past weekend, and then obviously GNCC coming up the following weekend. So around the time that we were going to record the show, end up chatting a little bit and finding out that he can't do the show, and then shortly after that is when he publicly announced his injury. So Zach Osborne ended up suffering a broken elbow and had to get some hardware, some plates, and some screws in there to get him all put back together and pieced up right. So that is why it was unable to do the show last week. Justifiably so. Obviously, that is a giant ordeal. So first and foremost, want to give our T's and P's out to Zach Osborne. I think that was one of the most highly anticipated storylines going into the season, especially after watching how good he did in at the first U.S. Sprint Enduro, getting second place overall. And I think everyone was excited in general to see Zach Osborne come race Woods, an entire season of Woods for a factory off-road team, competing in the GNCC series. But I'm sure of everyone that was looking forward to seeing it, I think Zacho was probably looking forward to it the most after retiring as a 250 Supercross champion, a 450 motocross champion, everything that he's done in his career. For him to come out of retirement to make this decision to race in the Woods, to be racing FTR races, to be racing Sprint Enduros, and race a couple GNCCs last year to get everything ready, there's no doubt that he had put a lot of heart and passion and soul into being the best version of himself that he could be as he made this trip to off-road. So I'm sure there's no one that's more upset or disappointed with his injury than Zacho himself. So that's why I want to give big T's and P's out to Zacho. Obviously, the fans wanted to see it, but I bet Zach was kind of looking forward to it more than anyone. So no doubt that has to be a tough injury to swallow, a big one to swallow, especially just, like I said, all the circumstances, really getting himself in shape and getting himself ready to compete in the off-road world. So very unfortunate, super bummed out that ended up happening the way it did, but do want to send our best wishes to Zacho and hope that thing heals up fully and completely. And hopefully maybe we can see him out at some races, maybe after summer break or just whenever he gets healed up. No idea of the timeline, but hopefully we can chat with him here in the coming weeks on the show and find out some more information. But yeah, just want to start off with that. Also, still T's and P's out to Taylor Jones. Broke her neck and had some gnarly injuries herself. And also JoJo Cunningham, who is recovering from that broken femur. But, yeah, hopefully this year's Big Buck goes off a little bit healthier than last year's Big Buck. I think that's one thing that everyone is wishing for this season is just a healthy season so we can see all the racing, but more importantly, just to make sure all these riders stay healthy, and able to compete going forward. So super stoked on it. We will be there this weekend. I'll have some OTP hoodies, T-shirts, things like that on me. So if you would like to grab yourself something, hit me up at the race. I will be out there. I'm going to get there Friday. And then, we'll all just be hanging out all weekend. Should be a good time. I kind of got some stuff in the pipeline, but I don't want to announce anything yet because nothing's set in stone. But maybe as it gets closer, I will put it out. Just want to apologize for not putting out a show last week after everything happened the way that it did. Had some ideas, was going back and forth with a couple different guests, couple different things, and just with schedules and some things I had going on, it just didn't work out. So my apologies, but now that racing season is underway, there will be no more abruptly missed episodes. One of the main things that we're going to try to do this year is set a scheduled time so we know when the show is happening, so that way you can listen. And, can't thank you enough for your support. Really means the world to me. Really appreciate everyone that tunes in and listens to the show. You guys are awesome. We got some big stuff on the horizon. I'm up to something. I'm up to some things, but we'll announce that in due time. Anyway, thank you for being here. Do want to let you guys know Beta Motorcycles is the official manufacturer of OTP. Beta Motorcycles has been family-owned and operated since 1905. They manufacture the finest enduro, trials, and dual sport motorcycles that are known for their premium quality and rideability. Beta Motorcycles are the best-looking bikes on the market, and they back it up with their superior performance. Head over to betausa.com for more information on their available models or to find a dealer near you to get yours today. And as always, this episode is also brought to you in part by Zach Tussle at Raymond James Financial. We talk about him often. Zach's been on the show. Zach is a racer. Zach raced the Sumter National Enduro. Zach is one of us. Zach is also a financial advisor. So if you're looking for someone to manage your money or help you manage your money, Zach Tussle is the guy that I would always recommend. He will be at Big Buck this weekend too. So if you want to reach out to Zach and meet him in person at Big Buck, he will be out there this weekend. If you see me wandering around and you'd like to talk to Zach, let me know and I'll introduce you guys because he'll be there racing because, like I said, he's one of us. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. Other than that, don't want to talk a whole lot more about some other stuff. Hopefully, we're planning another show for later this week, and then plan to do one live at the GNCC, just working out the details of that. So OTP is back in your life, and we're here to stay because it's race season, and you guys deserve the content. So I'm going to try to bring you as much content as we can. We're also sponsored by On the Press, custom tees, screen printing business, making T-shirts, so your company T-shirts. If you own a construction company and you need T-shirts made, if you own any company, you need T-shirts made. If your church needs shirts made, or your softball team, or whoever, you can always hit up On the Press Custom Tees. You can shoot me a message directly. I don't have anything set up for the website or anything yet, but yeah, we're in the screen printing business. If you need T-shirts made, I got you. Just reach out. Other than that, this is a really fun episode that we got coming at you. My buddy Craig Oberholzer stopped by the house. We had a really good chat about the racing that has already happened this year and then the racing that is going to happen this year. So it was a good conversation, fun conversation with Big Rig Craig. As always, he's been on the show several times. So I hope you guys enjoy this show, and I hope everybody has safe travels to the race this weekend. And, can't wait to see everybody this weekend. Can't wait to get back to racing. We'll see you then. I'm going to go ahead and quit talking and move straight into our guest of the day. So joining me for this week's show, a good friend of the podcast. Welcome back to the show, Craig Oberholzer. Craig, how's it going?
Doing all right, man. How are you?
You know.
Hanging out?
Living the dream.
Dog nuts?
Hanging out.
I hear you.
So there's we're right in the middle of race season. I feel like it crept up on us.
Yeah, the wallet's hurting already. 2-3 weekends in a row already. So back to being broke. Didn't take long, but happy to be riding again, and everything's starting back up. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. And then I sit there and realize that every weekend is accounted for the foreseeable future now.
Yeah, well, I'm going back to work March 20th to May. I'll be working out of town. So I'm trying to get all my riding in I can right now because for 2 months I ain't going to be able to touch a bike.
Where are you going
So,
to?
do some shutdown jobs, and I'll be at a power plant down by Outback. So
Oh.
at the full gas this weekend, we were only 20 minutes from where I'll be working.
You can be working with old Braxton McGee out there?
No, he's scared.
Oh.
He don't work.
What does he do?
He takes sledgehammers to cars and make them look less like shit than when they were when they got in the car wreck. So I think he goes to auction. He goes to auctions and he gets these wrecked cars, and like he'll put inner fenders and fix front ends of them and resell them. He does pretty good, man. I talked to him quite a bit.
Sweet.
All he does is he don't ride no more. He just works on cars.
But yeah, all them full gas races are kind of like out in the neck of his woods.
He came this
His
weekend.
neck of the woods.
Yeah, he came this weekend. He hadn't rode. I think he might have rode a couple times in January, but before that, it had been a while because he stoved or maybe broke his wrist in like August. His little cousin Mason Rayner and him, I think, were at Jimmy Weinert's. He said he was riding and wasn't paying attention and stoved it up pretty good. So he hasn't touched a bike, and then just came out of nowhere, just come ride and trying to get back into it. Sounds like his parents are trying to get him back into it more than he cares. But
So did he race full gas?
yeah, he rode Pro-Am. Yeah, got mid-pack and Pro-Am.
Oh dang, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I think he got fourth, maybe. Fifth.
Braxton, if you're listening, we need you back on a bike more often.
Yeah, quit being scared of it.
But no, man. So there are. I mean, we're a few races in right now. We've had a few sprint enduros happen. We've had the Sumter National Enduro happen. We're heading into Big Buck this weekend for GNCC to start. But you race Sumter, you race full gas. I announced Mid-East. A lot of racing going on and a lot of racing that we haven't caught up on.
Yeah, so I did. The first thing I did was I did a Carolina XC because I hadn't rode in like 2 months. Did a Carolina XC. The next weekend was Sumter, and the next weekend, which was this following weekend or this past weekend, was full gas. So glad to say I'm done with the sand for a while. Ready to get back to the hard pack stuff, but it's been a full couple weeks. I forgot how you feel Monday morning after you ate shit a couple times. It brought back some good memories, I guess. So back to it.
Dude, I can't imagine. I was thinking about that the other day, like how sore you are after it. It's been so long since I've raced, I don't even remember the feeling.
The worst thing for me, I got these fat old legs. Whenever I get done, like I got my knee braces on.
Fat don't cramp.
Fat don't cramp. But after every single race last 3 weekends, I've had like rub marks on the inside of my leg from my knee braces. I get in the shower that night, and that hot water hits your legs, dude. It's not great.
The burn is on.
It's not a good burn. It sucks.
Do you not wear something underneath your knee braces?
So I had some Mobius braces. I have them, and I had some long socks, but it just still digs in on the backside of my leg. And then last weekend, I got some those TP199 EVS ones that are just kind of slide-ons. I don't really care for the big Mobius braces because I guess for some people it's fine, but I got big legs, big calves, so whenever I'm putting my pants on, like it's still kind of tight just how big the knee braces are. And it feels way better having something that just slides on there. Because the biggest thing I care about is going into a corner and your kneecap hitting the bottom of the bar. Mm-hmm. That is the worst thing on the planet to me. So I wasn't super worried about having these $700 knee braces on, but I really like these EVSs I'm wearing now. So yeah, that's the worst part about it is getting in the shower after, even if if you didn't get hurt, nothing like that, but you feel it next night.
I'm a big pod guy.
Pod guy.
I like my pod knee braces.
I got these tree trunk legs. They don't like that.
Adjustable straps, man. Anyway, Sumter, National Enduro. Let's start there, I guess, because a lot of stuff happened last week. Wasn't able to get to a show. Sorry about it. But now race season's here. We should be pretty steady. Craig, I'll run through results real quick. And you were there. You were right in the mix with all the pro riders, so we're going to get your take on it. But I'm just going to read through results real quick and get it out there. Grant Baylor, in his first appearance on his new Kawasaki rod, takes the win from what seems like dominant fashion. We'll get into that here in a minute. Ryder Lafferty who led the points halfway through the year last year, ends up in second place on the day. Josh, Toth like both in his Siesta special schedule that he's got going on this year. He's racing all the National Enduro, so starts out on the podium there in the only series that he'll be contending, minus maybe the Bite GP series. Might be able to get him out for all of those.
Yeah.
To be determined. But yeah, Liam Draper leads the way, grabs the win in the Pro 2 class, which I guess there's some stuff to talk about there that we'll get into. Michael Kowski, second place in Pro 2, and Thorne Devlin on the podium in Pro 2. So that is the way that it shook up there. Top amateur, Mike DeLosa, who was the top amateur at the GNCCs last year. The
Big Magnum, bud. Magnum.
Mid-East overall champ. Starts off with a bang. And gets top am at Sumter. And then in the women's pro class, it was Corey Steed. Shout out Corey Steed. I got myself a Corey Steed sweatshirt. It's pretty sick. I like it. And then I also won a digital Slack tool from her, so that was cool. So Corey Steed takes the win. Rachel Goodish in second place, and then reigning, defending two-time or three-time champ. At least two-time champ, Mackenzie
Call it
Tricker,
5-time.
ends up in the number 3 spot. So those were the results. How was Sumter, man? I heard that the track was good, or the dirt and the weather.
It was good. It was kind of surprising. I mean, I guess as much rain as you can get down there, it can't be terrible because how much sand it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I was row 31, and it was excellent.
Who was on your row?
Bubs Sasha.
Was that it?
No, I don't know. One was Trevor Klein.
Well, I meant, as far as pro riders go.
Bubs, Pro 2. Yeah. Other than that, there's just some other guys I knew of, but I didn't know them real well.
So that was one of the things that I kind of alluded to when we were going through the results. I've heard a few things coming out of Sumter, just like kind of talking to guys. But one of the big things is I guess everyone's super salty about the setup of how the pro riders are staged and all that stuff. So like Liam Draper, for instance, and then I think Michael Kowski and Thorne, I think they were all on a row with Ryder Lafferty, on a row with Grant Baylor, on a row with Josh Toth. And so I guess a lot of people were upset that some of the Pro 2 guys were able to tag right along with the Pro 1 guys and kind of get carried through it.
Yeah, Thorne was with Josh, I knew, because they were both on 34. I don't know. I got past. I had a wreck on test 5, and I believe Liam and he was right with. Maybe it was a guy on a. Who else was on a gas cap? Thad wasn't racing.
Oh yeah, Thad was there.
Was it okay? So I just know there was a couple times that 2 riders came in. Every time I seen them, they came in together. So I was kind of confused because I didn't know that Pro 2 and Pro 1 could be on the same row. I thought Pro 1 or Pro 2 started at like 19 or 20.
Thad was not there, by the way.
Okay.
It was just Ryder and Toth.
So I thought, I was under the impression that like 1920 was when Pro 2 started.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think John Johnson's usually like 21, or he was last year. But whenever you have, if it's Sumter, it's maxed out in riders. Whenever you have 15 Pro 2 riders, it's kind of hard to put them, because then you're going to have the issue where people are complaining that they're at row 50. I'm Pro 2, why should I be in row 50? Well, when there's 7 million freaking riders trying to go in, it's just like whenever you're trying to sign up, there's just too many people. I mean, I don't know. I can see the issue for a Pro 2 rider who was with all C riders on their row on 25. I can see where he'd be like, that kind of sucks. I don't have someone to ride behind, because I'm the same way. I ride way better when I'm riding right behind someone a little bit faster than me. But not a real good way to fix that problem. You know what I mean? I'd rather have a Pro 1 rider with them than a two Pro 2 riders. That would kind of suck.
I mean, that's the thing too. Is like that is an obvious problem, but it's kind of like luck of the draw. But like, how do you fix that? So, like for instance, I'm just sitting here looking at it right now. Thorne Devlin, Josh Toth on the same row, so Thorne can kind of get in behind Toth and get pulled there. And keep in mind, these Pro 2 guys are already fast as is and already running up front as is. So just having that extra carrot dangling right in front of them, it can't hurt. You know what I mean? But then, so it was Ryder Lafferty and Liam Draper on the same row. So Ryder second overall, Liam Draper first place in Pro 2. Craig DeLong and Mike Wachowski were both on the same row. Yeah, so but it's that kind of. But like you said, I mean, how do you fix that? There's only so many rows.
Got to brag on Thorne a little bit too. Did you see the bike he was racing?
I did not.
It was like a 40-hour TPI. I think a 250 TPI gas, and it wasn't like like everyone else. Obviously, 90% of the other guys that are running pro class are on brand new bikes, brand new 250Fs, 350s, whatever. Thorne, I don't know what the situation was. He'd mentioned it to me. He was on like not a high hour bike, but it wasn't like a brand new ready to go bike. So, and he just, I think maybe it was a last minute deal they all put together, but he rode obviously real good, got third in Pro 2. He looked real good on it, but
that's sick.
He kind of mentioned that it wasn't like a, not sure what his team deal is or the support for the year is, but last second deal, threw some graphics on it and raced it, and it wasn't a brand new ready to go bike.
That's what I was just sitting there thinking, like, does he have a title sponsor? Like, do you know who it is? Because, I mean, old Russell Bobbitt won Sumter on a two-stroke not that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, was that 2019? I don't think it was that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. But I mean, if you think about Thorne or someone like that, they're not going to go buy a 252 stroke to be competitive in National Enduro right off the bat. If he had his choice, it'd probably been a 250F. So it was just kind of interesting. I asked him about the bike in between one of the resets, and he was just talking about it. I mean, he seemed to like it, but just kind of interested in how that turned out for him.
Bone Cutter Off-Road.
Bone Cutter Off-Road.
That's who he's riding for. Which they're a dealer for Beta, Sherco, and Gas. So you could always get a Beta. Get that premium quality rideability.
Ride red, bud. Just not that red.
Yeah, not Beta red's
yeah.
Right red.
I'm factory DK wrench red. Gas. Day I die.
But yeah, no, I mean that's awesome, especially for Thorne to be putting together his own program. I mean, Thorne's been a guy. He was on the factory Beta team.
Yeah.
He's been on factory teams. He's won a lot of races. He's done good at nationals, and so for him to be putting together his own program and then start the year off on the podium, dude, I couldn't be any more pumped for Thorne. And Thorne's another one of those guys. Like, another thing about him is he's another one of those guys that's like really kind of invested in himself as far as like social media goes. Like, every time I open TikTok, there's a TikTok from Thorne. And so I don't know. I think it's cool to see riders that are doing things like that.
Isn't he the one that broke his wrist at a U.S. Sprint last year, or was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And he finished the test using his left hand.
Yeah.
For the throttle.
Yeah.
Dude's
Thorne's
badass. That's sick.
And he's really good at like technical stuff too, like hard enduro type stuff. He's one of those like really good all around riders. I feel like.
Yeah, he's cool.
So it's cool to see him go out and start the year on the podium.
Yeah, sick.
The other thing from Sumter that I heard, talking to not just one actually, but two competitors of Grant Baylor's in the Pro 1 class. I'm not gonna mention any names, but I heard through the grapevine that it might be impossible to beat Grant Baylor this year.
Dude, gnarly. Every time he passed me, because he was a row behind me.
Oh, he was the row behind you.
Was he 32 or 33? I was 31. All I know is he caught me very quickly. I mean, I'm going to say he was the row right behind
33.
me. Okay, break my heart. Yeah, he, gnarly.
So he was starting
ripping.
2 minutes
Dude,
after.
he wrecked in test 5 and ripped his radiator.
Yeah.
Like, screwed his stuff all up. Had to come out, and I came out of test 5, and looked like they were framing a bike. I mean, they had the tank off, and they were sitting there working on it already. So, I don't know how long he was on the ground or whatever, but yeah, he ate shit and had to throw a radiator on in between tests. He looked good.
I heard he had a gnarly one in test 5.
Yeah, same.
But I don't mean this in a bad way. Certainly don't mean it in a bad way. But I've also heard that Grant's not a guy that really puts a lot of emphasis on training and riding a bunch and putting a ton of hours on the bike in the off season. No one knows because we don't know what Grant does.
Yeah, that's kind of the cool thing about it, because his brother obviously is. Everyone knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he doesn't post anything on social media either.
No, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, his brother rides so much and does this, that, and the other, but I think Stu will be the first one to tell you that his brother doesn't have to do all of the things that he does to be like, what was it? He won Big Buck. Was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
Who?
Grant, correct? He won the first race of the year 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And people would joke that he hadn't done anything all year and he wasn't going to do any good. He smokes everyone's ass at Big Buck.
Yeah. He
Like-
won Camp Coker last year.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who doesn't have to do everything that everyone else does. Maybe, I think it'd be dumb to say he doesn't work out and doesn't ride, because I know he does. Just talking to him, he just doesn't broadcast it. So, I mean, he might. I mean, I know I see Snapchats or get Snapchats from him every once in a while of him riding a road bike. I mean, he's doing something. Obviously, look at him.
But
Ripping.
two things. One, that's kind of the point that I was getting at. is
Yeah.
Even if he's not doing all of that, and he can still go out and win races, and still go out and win a National Enduro championship, and randomly show up to a GNCC and win. Like, imagine if he was doing like more than everybody, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, and once again, I don't mean this to come off in a bad way. I like Grant.
No.
a
Yeah.
lot. And
Some people's programs are just different than others.
Well,
Some people do better doing different things.
Stu and I have talked about it on this show, like doing the weekend reviews with Stu last year, and Stu would even say, like, get mad that Grant, once again, I'm not saying this, Stu said it on the show, you can go back and listen to it, but saying that, like, Grant didn't train or didn't ride or didn't do those things, and then still did, but, like, talking about his natural talent, how good he is, and, like, Stu getting upset that, one, he has to train that hard to get his success, and two, if Grant trained harder, no one could touch him.
Dude, no shit. Like 2013, 2014, I remember seeing an Instagram story or a Snapchat story from Stu of him saying he hadn't seen Grant in like 2 days. They were supposed to be training. And Stu rode a road bike past Grant's ex-girlfriend's house. And Grant had his truck hidden behind a tree or something. Like, it was the craziest thing in the world. The story might be a little fuzzy because it's been so long, but then the next year when Stu's talking all kinds of shit, he's like, yeah, he's sitting here not doing nothing. This is he ain't gonna do worth of shit this year. He wins XC2.
Yeah.
But I just remember that. But yeah, I mean, that's always been the thing. He just never had to do the same thing everyone else does. Kind of same thing with Josh Toth. Like, not everybody has to go down to a training facility and do this, that, and the other and work their absolute, dick into the dirt to get the results in the weekend. Some guys can just ride, do their own program, ride their road bike, not document everything they're doing, and go out there and rip. How it is. Not everybody's built to be the company man, so to say.
Yeah. But, it's just, one, if you can get away and have success and win championships and sign deals, which Grant has done all of the above, then more power to you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, like I said, it leads you to think of, like, the guys that can get away with not doing those training programs. Like, if they did that training program, I mean, it could go either way. It could help and make it to where no one could touch them again.
Yeah.
Or it could get you all burnt out and you hate what you're doing, you hate life, you don't want to be at the race on the weekend, so you don't do worth the shit.
I think that's how Grant was when he was on Ampro. People had mentioned that, like, Randy really wanted them to do this, that, and the other. And just Grant started riding way better when he got away from the political side of it, just doing his own thing. I think he did win John Pitton that year, though. But yeah, I just heard that he didn't really agree with someone trying to tell him, hey, you have to do this, that, the other, which is awesome. I mean, if you can go and do your own work and don't have to listen to somebody, more power to you. It's awesome.
I mean, now that we say that, there's actually people right now being forced into training programs that they don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
That because that's what they think is the recipe of success. Maybe that recipe worked for one person, but maybe that's not the way that other people operate. Just like you're saying, there could be somebody going through these intense, like, high energy, high output training camps, when if you just left that person alone, let them do their own thing and enjoy the process, I think they'd be doing a lot better.
Yeah, people who show up to work happy seem to have a better day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, Sumter was gnarly. It was not as bad as it was in past years on my end. Probably because I wasn't on row 140 this year, which was fantastic. It was cool to get home at a decent time. It sucked doing 6 tests. I hate running A class because I freaking ride way longer. And I rode real good test 5, started test 6, ate shit, and that set the tone for the rest of my day. So shout out Craig Oberholzer for 41st in Open A. Come get the smoke. day of the week.
Hey, man, you did a lot better than everybody else that was on the couch.
Yeah, I beat 20 of them. 20 people in the class. That's all that matters. So,
yeah, that'll be a cool one to keep an eye on as far as what goes on at the National Enduros this year. Because like last year Stu got hurt, and when he went back to racing with a broken face and a broken neck and everything else, he's talking about that being the worst enduro finish that he had, and I think it was 4th or 5th. I forget now. But all things considered, he had what everyone else would perceive to be a good ride. And he came on the show and was completely disappointed at it, and that's the worst I've done in enduro, blah, 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 blah. And then this past weekend, he got a 5th place and a 7th overall, just
Pissed.
Straight up. Yeah.
Pissed. He was sick.
Yep.
He was still sick. I talked to him, called him 2 days ago. He was still sick.
Yeah.
But then on Snapchat, it looked like he tied one on at the local bar playing karaoke, so I don't really know. He did. I called him. He's just said he's just getting over it. What way to get over it? By getting a little bit of Fireball or some whiskey in you at the local package store.
That's how you get the rest of it out of your system. You get a cut, what do? You put some alcohol on it. So you got an internal bug, put some alcohol on it, burn it out.
That thing you do with toddlers. They're sick. Get them drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sumter's good. And then I was just going to talk about this weekend a little bit.
Yeah.
Full gas.
I didn't want to leave the Sumter thing like I was saying something bad about Stu. I was just saying him coming out, getting 5th place in the opening round, not a very characteristic thing. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that as well to see how he rebounds from this. I mean, he was in the title hunt all the way through the end last year, it seemed like, and that was after effectively getting no points at 2 rounds. So you for sure cannot win the championship in the first round, and I really don't think you can throw it away in the first round either, but I know that he's going to be wanting to come back and do better than that for the rest of the year for sure.
Oh, yeah, and he's only been on the new bike for, what, month and a half?
Yeah.
So just get faster and faster.
And I wonder how that transition is too, because you hear a lot of the KTM factory boys talking about how much different the bike is and trying to get used to it. And Stu rode those bikes for 17 years. He's been off them for a couple years, but now he's going back to the brand on the new bike. So I wonder if it's a steeper learning curve or almost better that he's starting out brand new, just like even the factory boys are.
Everyone I've talked to, like Mason Simmons and like Ansley, the 250S, they say are sick. They're rocket ships. I talked to I haven't talked to Stu about them, but I talked to Nelco at the Full Gas, and he likes it. He thinks it's sick, like especially in the woods. He said it's gnarly. So big fan. He's on a 350. I think Stu's on the 450, but still same frame.
The 250 didn't change, did it?
Yeah, it did.
It's all brand new as well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Ben is really gelling with that bike.
Yeah.
He said he likes it a lot.
Yeah, he looked good.
So that's going to be one to keep an eye on this year as well. Like him kind of getting forced into the XC1 class or an Open 1, Pro 1, whatever.
He'll make more money.
Yeah. I think he'll do good. I tried to tell him all last year that I think he'll do better. I think
he was saying that he was 210 pounds on that Honda 250F last year.
Really?
Yeah. Which, you know, I was 240 pounds. I was going to buy one because I rode one and I thought they were so sick, but he was 210 pounds, and he was neck and neck with Evan Smith for the Full Gas Championship. Like, that's sick.
Yeah.
And now he's on a 350. I think Bark. Sick.
Yep. Yeah, so getting that more power, but then also just riding up front with those guys. I think there's a lot to learn when you're riding with the Strangs, with the Thads, with the Jordan Ashburns, with the Ben Kellys. Like, I feel like being on that front row and being forced into that. What I'm saying is I think Ben, in this position that he's in, we're going to see more growth in him as an off-road racer, like an all-around rider this year than maybe in years past. Now look at Craig DeLong. Craig DeLong got forced up after he won the XC2 championship. He had a year to defend, and then actually no, he didn't even defend. He just moved straight up. Got a podium in his first race, and then last year finished the year second place in points.
He defended. I think Johnny won the second year, didn't he? Craig won, then Johnny won.
I thought Craig didn't defend his number.
He rode with Johnny that last year. Remember, he moved up to his first XC2 race was the Ironman the Mutter. That was his first XC1 race. Was the Ironman Mutter.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it don't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
Who
rides
didn't,
the.
who didn't defend a number 1 plate then? I thought it was Craig. It might have been somebody else. Oh, maybe it's Bollinger. Bollinger didn't. He won the championship, moved straight up.
He said, "Hell with him, bud. I ain't got time for it."
Yep.
Yeah, and then
That's what it was.
Craig rides 350 way better.
Yeah.
250.
Nevertheless, I think we've seen a huge jump in Craig as a rider. Like, if you look at his overalls. I mean, he finished overall second on the year last year at GNCC's.
Yeah, sick.
And then, I mean, even like at the National Enduros, he was 4th place, just barely off the podium this past weekend. So
Yeah, Ripper. Must be the first name.
I guess so.
Half Black Riders.
Something about it.
About it.
But no, it'll be cool. Going into this past weekend, just a few days ago, I was at Mid-East announcing that. Turned out to be a mutter on Sunday for the bikes. But Full Gas happened on Saturday. They kind of, what a weekend to switch to one-day formats on Saturdays, because they got the perfect weather on Saturday and avoided the storms on Sunday.
Oh, but I would have overhauled. All this belly on that rear tire? Dude, no way. And just in case anybody wondering, Josh Strang can still ride a motorcycle.
Dude.
He looked the slowest, and he was way faster. He's just so smooth, dude.
How about Stranger Danger?
Yeah. That's what everyone, we walked over and watched a little bit of the cross test.
Yeah.
Like right before I was taking off, we could see it. And everyone's like, dude, he looks like he's just like floating. He's just cruising. Everyone else is, elbows up, just absolutely ripping. And he smoked him almost every test. Well, every test. He won every test, I think.
All 10, yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's freaking rips.
But that's the thing about Strang. That's how he's always ridden. Like, you never hear him on a rev limiter. He just burp, burp, burp. You watch him like perfect form everywhere.
He will 100% win a GNCC this year. That's a fact.
I hope that everything stays healthy. And he was on the show a couple weeks ago, like talking about his wrist and how that's healing up and all that. So, I think if he can keep his wrist healthy, he's still hungry. This Full Gas win had to give him a ton of confidence.
Yeah.
Because it's also, it's not like with the division of the sprint enduros, it's kind of, I don't want to say weakened the competition, but you got a few good guys here and you got a few good guys there.
Very inconvenient.
And so you're not racing all of the top guys, which is kind of a bummer. But this past weekend, Tyler Medaglia won a bunch of the Full Gases last year. Ben Nelko was in contention for the overall title. He won the Pro 2 title. Lane Michael has won days back when Full Gas was Full Gas and battling for championships back then. And then he is the U.S. Sprint Enduro champion. He was the first U.S. Sprint Enduro champion.
Yeah.
And so it was still like a good rider, good competition out there. Like, it was a stacked field out at Full Gas. And I don't know. It was I was at Full Gas or Mid-East on Saturday announcing. I was kind of checking the results and looking in, and I was stoked to see Strang out in front.
Yeah. Yeah, he rode super good. Mason Simmons won Pro 2. And Tyler Palmer won Pro Am. Super pumped. All the Aussies and the adopted Aussie ripping.
Yeah. And run through that real quick. So overall, it was Josh Strang going 10-0, taking the win. Lane Michael in the number 2 spot. Tyler Medaglia was 3rd place overall. Mason Simmons won Pro 2. Chase Hayes in 2nd place in Pro 2, and 3rd place Zach Hayes in Pro 2. And then Pro Am, Tyler Palmer taking the win. Toby Cleveland in 2nd, and Neil Enman in 3rd. And then in the women's pro class, it was Ara, I don't know how to say her name, Schmelian, Moto Girl, taking the win. Lizzie Perez in 2nd, Lexi Babbitts in 3rd. But you mentioned Tyler Palmer. Tyler Palmer absolutely killed it this weekend too. And I wasn't doing that to skip over Mason Simmons. Where I lost my place here. Hold on. I promise I was on track here. Mason Simmons, 4th place overall, 10-0. He won all 10 tests in the Pro 2 class. I think Tyler won 7 tests in the Pro Am class, but 6th place overall. So he would have been 2nd in XC2, ripping.
Yeah.
And then he came to Mid-East on Sunday.
Same bike, or was he on a practice bike?
I'm not sure.
He just posted about him having. He built that race bike.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes and takes it to full gas, which is fine, and then he takes it to freaking Mid-East. I'm like, there's no way that he's on that race bike.
Dude, he was crushing it, though.
I bet he was.
Winning Pro-Am on Saturday.
Look at them legs. All he's got to do is paddle on through.
Yeah. Second place at Mid-East, right behind Johnny Johnson. And, dude, them two were checked out. I think they were 3 minutes ahead of third place.
I think Delosa was up there too, right? But something happened to Delosa.
Delosa had a mechanical on the first lap.
Yeah, no good.
Well, I say that. It was a 3-lap shootout. Because of the conditions and, like,
Same
how bad that track got torn down.
Same exact situation, P Ridge. 2 years ago, I raced it on the 300,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the exact same way. There was rivers going down the middle of the trail, and John won,
Yeah.
obviously.
Dude, premium quality and rideability.
I think it's just
That,
legs.
that beta will take you to the promised land. But, no, so that's what I was so impressed to see is, like, Tyler and Johnny stayed the same distance from each other the entire race. When Johnny was coming through the finish line, Tyler was coming into the backside of the finish line every lap, and then he ended up finishing second. But like I said, them two were together, and they kind of gapped out third place by a couple minutes.
Who was third?
I was
Sorry for asking.
trying to avoid that
Sorry.
because I couldn't think of it off the top of my head.
I'm sorry.
I was standing right next to them with a microphone 2 days ago.
Oh, Andrew Vanetta.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah.
So Andrew, every time I announce him at a Mid-East race, because we do like the pro rider introductions, every time I announce him as the only person on the line to ever beat a 2-time Supercross champion in a race.
Oh,
And
no.
he gets mad at me about it.
Why?
It's like, dude, why would you get mad? That's like the coolest thing. He beat Cooper Webb in a woods race.
You know what sucks, though?
What?
Cooper didn't follow him back on Instagram.
What?
Yeah. I did some snooping. I thought about that. I wouldn't follow a kid back if I was 2-time Supercross champ. I wouldn't follow a kid back to beat me in the race either.
You would or wouldn't?
No. Hell with him.
I
I
would.
understand.
I think he earned it. I think he earned a follow.
Yeah. Might have earned it, but he didn't get it.
We need to start a campaign. Everyone comment on every single one of Cooper Webb's posts.
Follow Andrew Vanetta.
Follow Andrew Vanetta. He earned it. No, because it also worked in my favor because Cooper Webb won Saturday night, and then we raced on Sunday. It was like if everyone went home and watched Supercross, the dude that won it lost to this next fellow, Andrew Vanetta.
I'm building a KTM 200 right now, and if it would have been done, and I wouldn't, or if I wouldn't have cared about my gas at all, I wanted to ride a mud race so bad. I was really hoping it would have rained all day Saturday.
Hey man,
I miss it.
If and ands were pots and pans, the world would be a kitchen. You know what I mean?
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle, but she don't, so she ain't.
Well, you can't say that these days because a person in that particular situation could choose to identify as whichever one they wanted to, I think.
I identify as the correct person in this argument. More correct than anybody else who has something to say.
So, Full Gas had a big change this year. They put everybody on one day. That's a big change. So, everyone just goes on one day. But I think...
changes.
What?
Two changes, too.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is I think the bigger change of this format change is the fact that in the existence of Full Gas ever and Sprint Enduro Racing, because of the other series that did the exact same thing, you always alternate. So you go cross test to enduro test to cross test to enduro test, so on and so forth. But this year at Full Gas, you're doing 5 straight. So amateurs start out 5 straight cross tests. The pro bunch of people start out doing 5 straight enduro tests. And I think that's the bigger change. I think that would throw more people for a loop than racing everybody on one day. I mean, that is what normally we used to race everybody on one day anyway. You just did it both days.
You get a bunch of assassins running the motorcycle series. Shit starts happening. He cut down on costs. He made everything. It was so smooth too, just like it was last year.
Yeah,
the dude had everything. I mean, it was honestly really good. I was a big fan of doing all the enduro tests first and doing all the cross tests second. Like I liked it.
So, like Ryan Sipes, for example. Ryan Sipes would straight up switch between an 18 rear and a 19 rear every test. Well, he'd have his dad doing it, or he would do it.
That's gnarly.
What I'm getting at is Ryan Sipes is and forever will be the cross test killer. And like that dude would win. He would lose the woods test by 20 seconds, but he'd win the cross test by 25 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, he gave it up in the woods and earned it back in the cross test. And realistically, the only reason that Ryan Sipes wasn't a full gas champion back in the day is because he chose not to be. That was when he was doing his everything stuff. So he'd come and dominate and then just not show up for the second half of the season. So, but that is one thing that he for sure did, is he would change to a 19-inch rear in the cross test so you don't get as much tire roll. And then in the woods, he'd put the 18 back on so that way it would soak up the bumps. But now you can take that one step farther. Like, if you're doing 5 straight woods tests and then 5 straight cross tests, you can change your whole bike up. You can change suspension settings. You can change your handlebars if you want. You can change what foot pegs you're running. You can change what tire you're running. Like, completely different. And then set your bike up for woods, and then you got a little bit of time to set your bike up for the cross test.
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot do that because I'm too stupid. I don't have. You'd think I would know what I'm doing, but I run the same thing on everything. But I did see a lot of guys checking clickers. A lot of guys. I did see some guys changing tires, actually. Kind of confused. I think a couple people put a new MX-14 on for the cross test, and it made sense because it was deep.
That's the paddle tire thing?
Yeah, the new paddle. Yeah, I seen a bunch of people swap them, and I would have loved to do that. I ran a 33, and it was good. But a sand tire on a scooper on that cross test would have been legit because it was, I would say 60% sand whoops. Like it was good. I mean I thought it was a real good track. It was just rough. Sick.
So, and this is kind of something that we talked about before we started recording when we were picking up food, but how was it as far as like line selections, like being able to race the woods test and then be able to go right back to it instead of having a cross test in between, so you could like remember lines and remember bumps and rocks and roots? And
so the same thing I was telling you, I don't feel like I have the greatest race IQ as some people do. Like some people can go back and forth, like go do a cross test, go do an enduro test, and then headed back to the second cross test. I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this line I took here. Like in my mind, I had to. It was good that I started making changes on the second and third. Because I did enduro test first. So around the second and third tests, I was remembering, okay, don't go inside here, go outside. There's different lines and a bunch of not cheater lines, but some cut lines formed real quick. Because the first half a mile was just switchback, like pretty tight in the woods. But I found it super helpful. Like for me, I liked it. Some people didn't like it. I really enjoyed it because I liked. I like everything going on one day. I like racing on Saturday, and it was cool that both pro and amateur riders could ride at the same time, and it made sense because there's obviously 2 different tracks. So it was. I thought it was really good. I liked being able to go out there and easily remember what changes I needed to make as far as riding in the next test, and I feel like a lot of people felt the same way. Like it was easier to remember. Not everybody can just remember, oh yeah, in 2 turns there's a super tight cut line I could take and I need to, whatever. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was sweet.
Dude, I'm terrible with that too. Remembering lines.
Dude, I'm horrible. And you can ask anybody. Like me and Josh went and rode. It'd been a couple months ago now, but we were riding in the woods. He goes, dude, your lines are horrible. And that they've always been terrible. And I'm going to blame it on terrible eyesight, but that's not it. I just don't know how to pick a line. Like, I take the stupidest lines when I'm riding.
I feel like I go slow enough to where I can take good lines. Like, I feel like I make good decisions. But I can't remember a track. Like, I can't, dude. Like, at all. Like, during a race, I'll see a line out of the corner of my eyes that is like a cheetah, like a hot line. And it's like, all right, I got to remember that. And then I don't remember it until I'm passing it the next lap. I'm like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
But then you got guys that can tell you, like, in the back section down by the river, there was that branch that had 3 leaves on it and the root that goes 3 inches out from that tree.
Yeah, we'll be driving home. Hey, remember that one route on this one turn that bucked you real weird?
No,
I don't remember shit.
Don't remember that one.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just go. I go just fast enough to not be able to change lines at the last second, which is an issue.
See, my whole philosophy is ride it, find the stuff that can kill me. I remember where the stuff that can kill me is at. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I thought the woods test was sick. A lot of people, some people, didn't like it just because the first part of it was super switchbacks, like just bank left, bank right, like pretty tight. But I kind of excelled at that stuff. I think I rode a lot better than I anticipated I would. Um, and I thought it flowed pretty decent. I mean, the first test, I thought, man, that sucked. The second test, I was like, wow, that's actually pretty decent. Third, fourth, fifth test, I was like, that's sick. I liked it a lot. Maybe it's because I started riding better. Maybe if I would have been getting smoked the entire time, I'd be like, oh man, this sucks. I really liked it. I think he laid out a pretty good course, cross test and woods test.
Yeah. So overall, what's your overall opinion of doing it on one day, being done?
I like it for sure. That's one of the main reasons didn't want to race US Sprint last year. Not that I raced the full gas series or anything, but I'm not into racing 2 days in a row. Like I want to get in, get out, like hang out, do whatever. But I don't like having like if I sacrifice my Friday night to go race Saturday, I don't want to have to sacrifice all day Sunday too. Like I still got to go home and get ready for work on Monday, do whatever I got to do. I like the 1 day format better.
That was a big thing for me. Like the year that Full Gas, well, they did like a part of a season and then another season before I started announcing for Full Gas. But I raced one at Big Buck, but then that was one of my big things too. It's like, man, especially if you're working Monday through Friday, it's tough to get off work Friday, load up because you got to drive there to be able to race Saturday morning, and then you race all day Saturday, all day Sunday, race to get back home and get to work on Monday. I think it makes it tough.
That's like thinking about like Nick Rupert in Ohio. Him and Nicole, they'll leave. He might have, I don't know exactly his schedule now, but they're for a while. Friday after work, 2:30, dude, gone. Leave, they come back, they get back late as shit, even for GNCCs. Because nobody wants to show up Sunday morning at a GNCC.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, it's the setting. Everyone wants to get there Friday night, Saturday morning, hang out, drink, party, whatever you're going to do. Go bike the track, whatever kind of person you're talking about. And nobody gets home till late Friday, especially if you're doing Big Buck, if you're doing Florida, Georgia, and you live 90% of the people live in Pennsylvania and Ohio and West Virginia. That's a haul. So it sucks. It takes the fun out of it, a lot of it. But I don't think racing 2 days in a row is, even though you're just doing, I think you're doing 6 tests a day, which is a lot easier on your body and your equipment than doing 10 a day. I'd way rather do 10.
But I mean, you're still doing 12 in a weekend.
Yeah, but it's a lot different.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot different. I mean, I would get way more tired racing the 10 in 1 day than 12 in 2 days. For sure.
Yeah. Especially at a sprint enduro because you're riding 100% the whole time.
Yeah.
When you're on the bike, you're going as fast as you can.
Yeah, and 40 minutes on the dot out of full gas. And it was 40 minutes on the dot.
To
How he set it up.
test?
Yeah, so we started at 11, I believe. At 11:40, strength took off again. At 12:20, he took off again. Like that's how it went, and it was strict, and it worked, and it brings fitness into it. No, hell no. It definitely brings fitness into it. Not that I have a whole lot of fitness, but I could hold on for that long, and but it does make a difference. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, and I guess last year it still was a 1 day format. There was just still racing on both days. So I think the main.
Were we racing Sunday last year?
Do what?
And pros racing Sunday?
Yeah, because Saturday was like the Warrior class was the premier class.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't get to race. I didn't race Laurinburg last year. I ain't gonna be able to race the next 3 either. Sucks.
Yeah. This it was a weird one for me because this is the first time that, like, the first year that I haven't been announcing Full Gas.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird. We sit down and, like, think that there's Full Gas going on and I'm not going to be there.
Yeah, but Mid-East is just like a little GNCC. I mean, and that's the thing. You have so many people that have, like, know you from Full Gas. Most of the people that race Full Gas, a lot of them are at Mid-East and stuff like so. It's not that big of a shift, I feel like, for you to go to Mid-East because it's just like a perfect in between Full Gas and GNCC. Like it's 90% of the people. Well, I'd say 90% of the people, especially in like the A classes and pro classes at Mid East, they're all racing GNCC the next weekend.
Yep.
There's a lot of people down here from up north. I think was racing down there thinking that it was going to be just like the GNCC next weekend. No, way different. There's a river going down this weekend.
Yeah.
Ozark cruising down the creek.
Hope we get better weather in Union, South Carolina this weekend.
Hell yeah.
But like I've become good friends with Josh Koscheck and like helping with the social media and stuff last year. And actually I wrote the race report for him this week for this first race. But like it's cool to still be involved in some way, kind of like that. And like obviously I want to see his series do well, just because of everything that went into it and everything. But it really like the only thing it came down to for me is that with me doing all this stuff full time and like now starting the t-shirt business and all that kind of stuff, it realistically the only thing was that there's 6 full gas rounds and there's 15 mid-east rounds. So I mean it just made way more sense for me to take 15 paydays instead of 6.
Yeah.
But
that's another thing. Too many freaking races.
I think 15 is too many.
I think 17 Supercross is way too much. I think it should be 12.
No. Those guys, they need to do that. Because Supercross is not amateurs.
That's just more opportunity for your fantasy to get screwed up and put you in a bad mood. Every single Saturday I hear Tom cussing like a fucking I'm sorry. Cussing like a banshee. Everyone pissed off because A-Ray gets taken out in the last turn of the LCQ. That shit happens every weekend.
I got screwed on A-Ray too. I am leading the On the Pipe podcast RM fantasy group though. I'm like 82 overall. I've been having good fantasy weeks in RM. Pulp, I can't figure it out.
I didn't even start this year.
Pulp, I did get 3rd overall for, what was it, Houston?
Get any money for that?
No, if I would have paid to do the league thing, I would have won a set of Shinko tires. But
oh, great. Those would have been
maybe if they would have paid me, I would have taken some Shinko tires.
Put them on mopeds.
But, yeah. No, back to your point, though. I agree with 17 Supercross rounds, although it does suck to have 17 Supercross rounds and then 12 motocross rounds. So really, you're doing 29 rounds. But those guys are pros. They make good money, and it's only pros. So only pros, only pro teams, make them race all them races because that's what they're doing for a living. I feel like it's a little bit different until we can reach to the point where there's a pro-only off-road series. I think that's going to be tough to get to, but until we reach that point, right now it's amateur riders. So it's not just people that are getting paid to go race. It's the people that are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. It's the people that have to pay for 2 or 3 kids' entry fees. It's the people that have to pay for 5 people to get through the gate because mom and brother and sister want to come. Like, 15 rounds is too many for that. Like, because that means you have to commit to 12 of them, 11 of them, 12 of them, however many drops you get. And I think that's a huge commitment on families and people to be able to make that many rounds.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you have a family of 4 going to the GNCC this weekend. Plan on bringing about $1,800 just so you can afford to live. It's gonna be great. $30, baby.
$30 gate fee.
$35 for snowshoe and Ironman.
Unless you pay online, then it's only $28 because of all the fees that you got to pay for paying online.
Yeah. Who's in charge of all that?
I think that's a story for a different day.
I don't know who it is, but they can suck my ass.
I think that one kind of took a lot of people by storm, going up on the gate fee. But fingers crossed. Think about it. If you got 10,000 people through the gate and it's an extra $5 per person, then that's an extra $50,000 that you're making.
Yeah, maybe they'll give XC1 another $50 for a win.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Maybe this is the year that we see the pro rider payouts increase because right now they're $1,250 and they have been that way for several years. So now, if you're making an extra $50,000 per round, what's 50 times 12? 70?
Wow.
700?
Yeah, $700,000 extra per year. Wait, math? I don't know, man. I didn't go to college.
I could be way off on that. But the point is, $600,000.
Okay, math. Yeah,
$600,000 extra per year. So maybe this is the year that we see some of that money get thrown into the pro payouts. I don't know.
Hey,
we can only
real quick. Sitting here thinking about it. Did you see that thing? I don't know if we've talked about it before or not. The in Indiana or Illinois, they're having that thing, and the Mid-East this weekend was a qualifier for it.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The NRA.
What is it?
Um,
It's kind of like quotations like a Loretta's. You got to qualify to go to it.
yeah, it's a good concept. So it's I forget what NRA stands for. It's NRA, National Racing Association.
I was
or
just thinking
something.
about it because you said about having like a pro only series. I was sitting there thinking about that's supposed to be like the fastest people, but
Well, that's an amateur thing. So what they're doing is they're doing it just like the Loretta's things. You gotta they picked select events to co-sanction. Midius was one of them, and you have to go qualify. And so just like Loretta's, they take a certain amount of people, top finishers in each class from each of these qualifying events, and then there's one race for a national championship.
yeah,
If the AMA was on board, or MX Sports was on board, or GNCC was on board, or someone was on board doing it, it would be a good concept. But right now, that's not. The AMA has nothing to do with it. It's not a national. If you're not AMA, you can call it whatever you want. So you can call it a war. You can do a race with everyone from the same country in a field in I think South Carolina and call it a world championship if you want. We saw that happen last year. You can call it whatever you want. If 100 people show up and 90 of them are from the state that you're having the race in, you can still call it a world championship.
yeah.
But with this NRA thing, that's what they're doing. So in theory, it's a good concept. Maybe if it catches on and in a few years from now, it is like a big thing like the Loretta's, it'll be really cool.
I didn't know anything about it. That's kind of why I brought it up. I didn't know. I didn't know if there would be many people go down there, Mid-East, just for that, especially that mud hole.
I
don't
think
know
some
if
people like signed up for it, but like I said, a lot of people I think are confused about it. And then the people that aren't confused about it think it's an AMA national championship. Like you're not going to get an AMA number 1 plate for winning that final race.
Yeah.
Like you do at Loretta's, or like you do for racing 13 or 12 this year GNCCs.
Yeah.
But it is a really cool concept if it does pick up and work out, and especially if the AMA can see it and get involved. Because I think that's the biggest thing for a national championship is like an AMA number 1 plate.
Well, I go to Vintage Days, bud.
Although Bite GP might be a national championship and it's not AMA.
Look at number 1 plate.
Yeah.
That's me.
Um.
What you tell us about that a little bit? Because I don't know anything about it. Obviously, I know you posted about it, and I know
I barely know more than you.
I kind of know whenever they're going to be, but I didn't know if you had everything buttoned down yet to announce or what your plan was.
So, part of the reason why I'm starting it later in the year is to kind of work the kinks out and have time to do it instead of rushing to get everything done at the beginning of the year. So, with that being said, I think next Tuesday, on the show, we'll announce all of our locations and kind of more of what the plan is, and then get the website out, get that kind of stuff going on. We're going to have contingency from a few different brands this year. We'll announce that. I have locations figured out, and I guess I can go ahead and say it this week. I'm going from 5 rounds to 3 just because starting up late and trying to fit in schedules after they're already done, and a lot of people aren't willing to support the series with it not happening yet or know what's going on. So I think if we do 3 this year and really focus on those and really focus on making those good events, that we can get some more support heading into the next year.
Yeah.
Because kind of trying to start it from scratch and do it the right way and do it to where we're paying a good amount of money to the pro riders and we're getting a good amount of stuff to give to the amateur riders. Like, that's my goal. I want this to be the series that everyone wants to race. And just kind of doing it on my own, figuring it out and starting from scratch, I think it'll be better to focus on 3, make them 3 good events, and then really ramp things up for 2024. So that being said, we had locations picked out. Now I got to narrow the field down from 5 to 3. 1 is set in stone. Our final round is going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one. We will actually have the owner, or I guess general manager of the facility of that place on the show next week to talk about that. But then, just trying to figure out where the first 2 rounds are going to be and really decide on where we're going. But I don't know, man. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be fun.
Here for it.
Hopefully we can change some stuff and get some people excited about a different form of racing.
Yeah. Yeah, always nice to have something a little bit different, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Or it could flop and 30 people show up and I'll lose my ass.
Good. Definitely good. Probably won't.
but that's the risk. I just hope people come out and support it. It'll be cool. U.S. Sprint Enduro. Talk about that. It happened over the weekend, round number 2. Johnny Gerard, he won the first one, right? Yeah, and then Zacho got second.
Yeah.
Johnny Gerard takes the win in the Pro 1 class. Thad Duvall, second place in the Pro 1 class and overall. Josh Toe, third place Pro 1. Cody Barnes takes the Pro 2 win, third place overall. So Cody Barnes on the overall podium. That was a pretty big deal. That was cool. Angus Reardon in the number 2 spot in that Pro 2 class. And then...
Rui?
Was it?
I think Rui got third.
I'm trying to look right now. I don't see the next Pro 2 rider.
Pretty sure. Capitan.
Pro 2, Rui Barbosa. Oh, so he missed an enduro test. And so he's only got 11 scoring tests, so his overall is going to be pretty far down there. That's why. I was looking at the overall, and there's just 3 Pro 2 riders, so he wasn't showing up at the top of the overall. I can't read that.
Thanks is P2.
P2?
Yeah, maybe that was for the first day.
Yeah, he missed an enduro test on the second day, it looks like.
So
yeah, Rui Barbosa in third. Pro-Am, Dominic Morse, 6th place overall, taking the Pro-Am win. Jason Tino, 2nd place in Pro-Am, and 3rd place in Pro-Am, Gavin Simon. And then Pro Women, Rachel Archer, the GNCC champ, takes the win. Rachel Goodish in the number 2 spot, and Shelby Turner, 3rd place overall for women.
Stricker put on Instagram she had a separated shoulder, so
she posted that
she's
today.
doing all right. She posted it. I think that's what right before we started.
Speaking of injuries, man, how big of a bummer is that with Zacho going down?
Yeah,
especially putting on a showing like he did at the U.S. Sprint Enduro and getting 2nd place. I think that kind of turned some heads. But dude, I was so excited.
So what does it mean when GNCC posted that indefinitely? What is indefinitely? I mean, obviously, I know what that means, but broken elbow is not a 6-month operation.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
So I'm confused.
I've had a few people ask me about that too, because you would think when you're ready to race, you go race. But yeah, GNCC said out indefinitely. So is this whole thing getting thrown away now?
I don't. A lot of work and all. That's a lot of work the last couple months to go down the drain.
So Zacho was supposed to be on the show last week. We had it set up. He was going to be on, and like we were going to do a full show with him, like we'd been doing with like Josh and Trevor and stuff. And at the last second, he said he couldn't come on. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I kind of heard some rumblings that he might have gotten hurt, and then he ended up confirming it himself. But hopefully we can get him on and chat here in the next few weeks, kind of give him some time to heal up. And this has got to be tough, like to make that big announcement, to make that big transition into racing off road, and then get hurt before really it all starts.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got to be just as bummed out as everyone else is for not getting to see it, witness it.
Yeah, and I mean, the guy went from, last year he was a Husqvarna ambassador, and I think he switched over to this Yamaha deal so he could, obviously keep racing. I think his back must, took some time off from Supercross, Motocross. Back was feeling good, wanted to do some racing. Don't blame him one bit. I understand. And so now he's hurt. I really hope indefinitely was kind of a stretch, and he gets to start racing some, maybe after Coker, stuff like that, so he can get back to having. I was just thinking that going from working for Husqvarna and then going to racing, obviously, and then to getting hurt, that kind of sucks because it kind of screws you going from having a job to having a job and getting hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that puts riders in a really shitty situation.
Yeah.
And I know how some contracts are, so I hope he's still
But
contracted making some money.
I didn't know whether to take that indefinitely, as in for the foreseeable future,
Yeah.
like out indefinitely until further notice, out indefinitely until he figures out how long the recovery is going to be, or out indefinitely as sorry about it.
Interesting word choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was wondering the same exact thing. So maybe we'll get the opportunity to talk to him directly. I will say, whenever we first started putting it out that he was going to be racing off road for Yamaha, I heard it, didn't believe it. Said on the show, I didn't believe it, and then I confirmed it with proper sources. Proper sources weren't with Zach. And so when he did announce it, he sent me a message that day. He's like, all you had to do was ask. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you've been talking on your show for weeks that I was doing it. He's like, all you had to do was ask. And I thought that was cool of him. And he was really cool when he was on the show before, too. We kind of talked a little bit. But that's why I just floated out there. He's like, dude, no rush. But hopefully we can get him on to kind of talk about it and hear from himself. So we don't have to speculate.
Is he in Florida? You live in Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, he'd have been gnarly at Blatka.
Oh, yeah.
He'd have been sick. That sucks. I remember, was it 2013 whenever he raced? He raced XC2 in 2013?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere
around there, yeah.
And I think he got third.
Mm-hmm.
It was gnarly. I was down there. It was sick.
Yeah. I was so interested to see how a guy that did what he did in Supercross and Motocross came back to the woods and, like, transitioned. And to see how he would start doing better and better and better, and just where he stacked up at, man. I was stoked to see it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, because the XC2 class this year, obviously Johnny's out, which, I mean, he got hurt last year, so we didn't really get to see him much. And champ Lyndon Stuntgrass is going to be fast as shit.
Yeah,
I think I've seen him ride the last couple weeks, and he's sick. Mason Simmons, healthy, he's going to be good. Cody Barnes, obviously, in Rui. Mike Wachowski. I was just sitting there thinking that there was just so many people in it that are super fast and could win a race. Throwing Zacho in, some people were like, "Oh yeah, we've seen how he did at Pennsylvania 2 years ago. He won't do good." Yeah, bullshit, dude. He would be ripping. I mean, I don't see how he would be outside top 3 any weekend. That was my mindset. He was maybe after the first 2, but I was gonna 100% put my money on top 3 every weekend. See, I thought he'd be good.
I was thinking he wouldn't be a top 3 guy at first, and then I will admit that my mind did change when I saw how well he did at that first U.S. Sprint Enduro.
Yeah, he won an Enduro test.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah.
So there you go. So, yeah, I mean, that did make me second guess that. But just, you got to think, someone at that level isn't going to come in unprepared. No. But just jumping into 3 hours and at how big the XC2 class is and how competitive the XC2 class is, I just figured it would take like a little bit to get back in the groove. Although second round is Florida, and I thought Florida would be his chance to shine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was interested to see where he would pan out at.
I was dead set on top 3.
Yeah.
So
I hope, I don't know. I wonder if there's any thought of him to still compete for next year or something. Going on top of this, what do you think right now if you're Lane Michael? Because Lane Michael got his contract cut short by Yamaha to make room for Zacho, allegedly. That's coming from another podcast talking about it, but that's the way it seems like that whole thing went down. And Lane, from his own mouth, said that he heard rumors that he was cut from Yamaha and called his boss, and his boss confirmed it. So that's how he found out about it. So if that is true, and like I said, this is allegedly what happened, if that is true and Lane contracts gets terminated after winning a Sprint Enduro championship, gets cut short out of the blue, don't even get told about it, to make room for Zach Osborne to come in, and now Zach Osborne is hurt before the season starts, and Lane's kind of doing his own deal. How bad does that have to
And that's not the first time we've heard about this, because there was a couple guys last year who got mixed around, and it was kind of a little bit messed up. There's people hearing about it from third parties and then going and asking them. It's like, oh, yeah.
Who you talking about?
Rick. Dad went to Gas.
I didn't know that Ricky didn't know that.
I was I was under the impression that he was good for another year in Gas, and then now he's on Yamaha. So I mean, I didn't hear that from Rick and them, but from that was the understanding, and the rumor about it was he was supposed to be on Gas, and Thad went to Gas, so Rick went to Yamaha.
Dang, I figured that the Ricky to Yamaha thing happened before the Thad to Gas thing.
Now Rick was supposed to be on a Gas. Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so for Lane, first off, I seen Lane this weekend. He looked real good. I mean, I watched the bike; everything looked good. And I don't know Lane super well. Like I don't know him like I know most of everybody else. That sucks, especially because he had a pretty rough last 2 years. Obviously, you know, he won the Sprint Enduro Championship in 2021, but it's pretty cutthroat out there. I mean, everyone's looking for a spot. There's only so many riders, only so many teams. But I think he'll do great on that gas. I mean, he always rode the Husqvarna's good back in the day. I'm not sure what his schedule is. I'm assuming GNCC and full gas. He's not running National Enduros.
Probably.
I'm assuming he's going to run all the full gases and all the GNCCs. And, I mean, I hope the best for him because every time I've been around him, I met him at Andrew Kent's turn track a couple years ago. I know my buddy Andrew's buddies with him. Everyone says he's a super good dude. So, it's the best for him.
Yeah, like super good guy and just so talented on a bike. Like raw speed.
Yeah.
Lane is fast. And it stinks that since moving up to that pro class, we haven't seen we've seen him lead races. We've seen him be out in the front of races, but it's just like putting it all together and clicking off race wins at GNCCs. He can do it for sure.
He has terrible luck.
Yeah, there's that.
Do you remember John Penton this year? He got gas on his balls. I was walking, maybe this was last year. He pitted, took off, turned around, and just stripped. Because I was standing right there in the turn. You could hear him, oh shit, turns around, rips back, throws the bike down. They had dumped gas all over his. So that was great. And that was this race Strang won.
Yeah.
So I think he was right there with, like, he was top 2, top 3. So, I mean, he had a good chance of running right with Stranger, a top 3 for sure that weekend, and that not good.
Yeah. That came as a surprise to me figuring out that information, especially, like I say, coming off a Sprint Enduro Championship, which I know Yamaha doesn't put a lot in that. Like, they don't care as much about Sprint Enduros as they do GNCC and whatnot. But at the same time, like...
Other than Stu, that's the last thing they've won in a long time.
Yeah.
They haven't won... Yamaha hasn't won any championships. They didn't win a GNCC championship before that since Paul Whibley.
Yeah.
So, I mean... You got a guy winning the Sprint Enduro Championship the year before, goes down to the last race when he's defending it. I mean,
not only that, and like, dude, I don't know the inner workings. I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but like, Lane can't be very high maintenance. Like, I don't see him like demanding stuff or being a pain to work with or anything like that from like a business standpoint. But then, yeah, like he's got a kid on the way. Like, just got married, about to have a kid, and then he finds out through the rumor mill that he doesn't have a job for next year. But I don't know. And then that same Yamaha team a couple years ago when Ricky Russell got hurt and like ripped that thing in his the artery in his leg and stuff.
Oh yeah.
They brought in Corey Buttrick. Corey Buttrick did pretty good at the first full gas, and he wanted to go race at full gas. And allegedly, from what Corey said, that he wasn't allowed to go to the full gas, even like with a practice bike and doing his own thing. They didn't want him there. They wanted him to focus on GNCCs. So he missed full gas, gave up all the points that he had earned up to that point. And then the moment Ricky Russell gets back, they fire him.
Yeah.
So they kind of ruined his whole season. And then he even had to give up his longtime sponsors to go to that Yamaha team to make it work. He gave up his sponsors. He gave up his season at full gas. And then the moment they didn't need him anymore, they kicked him to the curb.
That's a super good dude.
Yeah.
You ever talk to Corey much?
Oh, yeah.
He trains a bunch of the kids in Ohio. He works with Nick Rupert now, and he still trains most of those kids during the week. Yeah, like a sales rep or something. And I talk to Nick a lot. I don't talk to Corey as much now, but I went up there and did some training with him also. Dude's super knowledgeable. And I still tell him, like, dude, you're not that old. Go get a 250F or a 350, go run Pro 2 at National Enduro, go make some money.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think someone like that, dude, he was growing up in Ohio. Whenever I was like 9, 10, and he would have been like 16, he was smoking everybody's ass on a 125. And I didn't know about GNCCs at the time. I didn't know like what his presence was at the Nationals, but at locals, dude, he was like a god. Everyone, the little scrawny boy, smoking everyone's ass.
Didn't he set the youth overall wins record?
Wouldn't surprise me. I didn't know because I didn't start going to the GNCCs till 2010 or 11, and he won his first GNCC overall in 2000.
Yeah.
Muddy John Penton. Yeah, he like locals. Like there was Travis and Morgan Green who were Team Green riders at the time. Trying to think, Rodney Smith was local. I mean, there was a lot of fast guys. Barry Hawk was local, and not saying they were all running the same local series, but he was outrunning everybody local at the time. There was a lot of fast guys, and see someone like that who hasn't been to the races lately. Like I see him a lot whenever I go home. Like I see him when he's training the kids and stuff. He's super good dude.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him back on a bike sometime. He shows up last year. This son of a bitch. He shows up to like fast tracks and some local fair races. On his father-in-law's, his father-in-law bought a brand new YZ450F and just laps everybody.
Yeah.
And first race back, I think JoJo had just got back to healthy, and there was like Tristan Landrum, some fast guys at fast tracks. Dude half tracks him. Just standing up everywhere he goes, just like he always used to ride.
Yeah.
I asked him about it after the race. I said, dude, how'd that feel? He said, I just had to show him Daddy still had it.
Yeah.
My man. Ripping.
Dude, I think his biggest thing has just been his knees.
Yeah. I remember I was there when he did that too. He on his beta, he had a beta sport ride, and there was a fast track supercross race, and he was just going out there to make some money. And there was it was on the back side, like the very farthest part of the track, and there was like table, and he tried to quad it. And on like the first generation beta, and he liked the bikes. There's nothing wrong with the bikes. He just came a little bit short and blew the knee out. And then whenever he was almost back, he tried to ride a little bit earlier and did it again, and it just kind of screwed him up.
A few of them now, though.
Yeah, I'd say he's got 4 or 5. He said his knees are not good.
Yeah.
But when we go, like I've rode with him a couple times up north, dude, so good still. He could not touch a bike for years, and still just looks so good on a bike. Gnarly.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, good dude. This kid's gonna be fast as shit.
Yeah.
Brookston.
He races like the Striders and stuff at GNCC.
Yeah, dude, he freaking rips. The little redhead. Hell yeah. Dude rips.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just back to the whole Lane thing. Like, I hope that something comes out of this, and I hope that he can get back on a factory team, because I think he's still one of those guys.
I don't see no reason why anybody in XC1 shouldn't be on one. But I mean, then again, it's not like there's unlimited amount of money in the sport right now. Like, not everybody's just forking out millions of dollars a year for riders. So I think he'll definitely get back to where he needs to be. He'll get a phone call if something will happen.
If you were Lane Michael, and now that Zacho's out and Yamaha calls you back, do you do it or do you not do it?
So Randy to sit on it and spin.
That'd be a tough one, dude. I'm too petty. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Like, y'all didn't want me?
Hey, Lane, you want to come down and stay in the bunkhouse again? No. Hell no.
That's rough, man. I felt so bad for Corey when that happened to him, and he got kind of the shaft with that whole deal, and then I felt bad finding out that that's how Lane's thing went down.
Dude, I'm still so butthurt about half those guys, because there was so much crap getting talked about me whenever I drove the KTM semi. Like when all that stuff happened the last 2 races in 2021. Dude, everyone in the world was convinced that I was cheating for
dude, you were listening to
teams.
everybody's radios and telling everyone about it.
Yeah, I was listening to everybody's radios and doing this, that, and the other. Dude, I heard a couple months ago someone talking about it again, and a source told me that another source, I know I'm being very vague, but I don't want to listen to nobody bitch, said that, oh yeah, he confirmed he did it. He was telling us about it. Dude, these freaking people. 45-year-old men talking about 20-year-old kids that didn't. I was standing there with a couple brake systems and a bottle of water in my hand, just waiting for someone to break something, come and need fixed. Like just waiting to hand somebody some tools. Wasn't doing anything.
What I heard is that you had every other team's radio information.
I can't even use my
And
cell
their
phone. How the
channels?
hell am I supposed to get on someone else's channel? I can't even spell. I can't even spell radio.
I forgot about all of that.
Oh, I didn't at all. That's why I don't like none of them people. They're about half of them that shit crazy. Yeah, that boy under that tent, he's sitting there listening to our radios. Well, how's he supposed to do that when all the lines are sealed or whatever? Someone went over to what's the guy's name? Runs GNCC, talks. I don't know his name. Got glasses on. Where's the monster hat? What's his name? The guy who runs GNCC. You know who
What do you mean that runs a GNCC?
Who is it? What's the guy?
Tim Cotter?
Yeah, him. That guy. Someone walked up to him and was complaining about me. And Tim's like, how he can't listen to your guys' radios. They're sealed lines. Like they're not, you can't just switch over to two little channels and be like, oh, this is Yamaha's channel, don't get on it.
You can. You gotta know like the whole code of the radio frequency.
Well, see, you just answered it. Someone can. I can't.
Yeah, but I'm not theoretically. Someone could get a radio onto that frequency and say, "Here you
I
go."
remember
Big
on
Rig
the
Craig.
way. I remember driving to California after that race and calling Stu 2 days later. I was like, "Hey, I don't know if you heard this rumor." He said, "Oh, I heard the rumor." I said, "I'm not smart enough to do that." He goes, "I knew that too." I said, "I knew you didn't do anything." He said, "I would have walked up to you and asked you about it." And I was like, "Dude, I did not do any of these things." Like I was getting text messages Monday driving. I was like driving through freaking Illinois. And I'm getting text messages asking me about it. I'm like, what are these people talking about?
Yeah.
So, just in case anyone
I
still had any
forgot
questions about
about
that,
that,
yeah, that was the stupidest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life.
And the worst thing is it wasn't even the two teams involved that were doing all the accusing.
Yeah, and I'm not getting into that because I knew what it was, but I'm not. Yeah, they're like, oh, that guy right there, he was. How the hell am I supposed to get into the woods? Oh, never mind. I was listening to what Yamaha or Cowie was saying, I guess. I was listening to what they were saying and telling all the KTM people so they could run into the. I was telling Caleb so he could go in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And there's so much stuff that you could tip off at a GNCC that would alter the outcome of the race.
Yeah, because it's not like you can't ride a bicycle anywhere on the side of the track and see. You know what I mean? It's not like a National Enduro. It's not like I knew that 2 minutes into test 5 there was something going on. You should go cheat and go look at it.
That whole thing is crazy. It's been a weird couple years, man. I've heard a lot of shade being thrown by people in the industry, people that are relevant to today's competition. Talking about last year, Jordan Ashburn winning the championship with just 2 race wins. Meanwhile, the year before that, the champion only had 3 race wins. Ben Kelly won 3 races in the championship. Jordan Ashburn won 2 races in the championship. But it's been weird how the whole thing has panned out, and like you said, all the controversy to end the 2021 season and everyone pointing fingers, and it's just been a couple weird years. Last year, everybody getting hurt.
Yeah, everyone just complaining, pointing fingers at someone because looking for someone to blame for something.
Dude.
Dude, remember last year, right? We were doing this exact show last year, talking about who's going to win the GNCC series.
Mm-hmm.
I said for sure Ben Kelly. And I said, but if anything happens, I said Jordan Ashburn gets 0 praise by anybody. Everyone forgets Jordan Ashburn. I said if something happens, Jordan will be there and he will win.
Yep.
And what happened, bud? You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
I don't get why everyone isn't giving Jordan the credit he deserves. Like, regardless of how you want to look at it, if it was that easy for someone like him to do, then anyone could have done it. Everyone didn't do it. Jordan Ashburn
Why
did
didn't
it.
they?
You know what I mean? So I don't understand why so much shade is getting thrown at him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's champion. He won it fair and square. At the end of the season, he had the most points. That's the name of the game.
And if he doesn't win it this year, I guarantee you he'll be top 3.
Yeah.
For a fact.
Yeah.
For sure.
What are your GNCC predictions? I know that you got places to be, so we'll end it on this note. But we'll go ahead. GNCC predictions, the 3 pro classes.
Okay, well, the first pro class is Sportsman A, of course. And I'm going to win.
All right. Who's going to be the trail rider champion?
Andrew Coffey. That's a fact. No, XC1.
You got Dustin Simpson on the Sportsman A line.
He don't want it
this weekend.
He don't want it.
He's only got one ACL, but
he wants to smoke, bud. He knows where I live. He can come get it. Yeah, one ACL. Rest in peace. Hashtag Sandpits.
Dude, shout out to Dustin, man. That's his 4th ACL on the same knee. I think 5th one in total.
Fixing it.
Yeah. I don't think that's supposed to be a secret. I don't think he cares if people know.
I don't know. I didn't say it. You did.
Sucks. Sorry, Dustin. My bad.
I remember seeing Shane at Sumter. I was like, hey, where's Dustin? Oh, man. He said, we sat there and ate bacon, egg, and cheeses by the fire by the writers' meeting, just sitting there talking about his brother.
Dude, that's a bummer.
So, let me think.
Let's start.
XC1. You want to start?
I was going to say start an XC3. I don't know who's racing XC3 this year.
Toby, is it Toby Cleveland?
Cleveland? Is he racing it?
Yeah. Dude, that kid, if he doesn't crash, he's going to win. He's freaking sketchy, and I love it. Dude, the viral video of him at a J-Day sliding into that right turn and just creaming the tree with the frame. Have you seen it?
No. I guess I'm going to do some research on Toby Cleveland.
Dude, it's good. You've had to have seen it. Dude, I seen it on TikTok before I even seen it on his Instagram. Here, I'm going to...
Oh, like coming down a hill?
And and he slides in on the YZ125. He just frames it.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Sick.
I didn't know that was him.
Him, Dominic. I think Dominic Morris. I mean, he won Pro-Am at the.
Yeah.
I think he'll be good. I don't know who all is racing. I don't know if Zach Hayes is racing it. He'll be fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is or not.
I don't know who else is racing either. Jay Lipscomb. I know he's racing.
Home dog.
He had some good runs last year on the beta. Ended the season on the podium a few times. Did he win an XC3 race?
No. I don't think so. I think he was close a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the most random people
until after.
I feel like the most random people show. I guess it just matters whose 125 doesn't explode.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, dude, they're ripping, and all of a sudden, 3 races out of 13, someone's bike everybody's bike eats shit a couple times.
It's like going into the season, I don't know anybody that's 100% confirmed for XC3 besides Jay Lipscomb.
Yeah, Jay, Toby Cleveland is. He'll be fast.
Like, Zach's been riding a 125. I don't know if he's racing or not. I don't know.
Just going back on what I said earlier, I'm not going to win Sportsman A. Just, I am not allowed to drink this year because my dad showed up last year, and he didn't tell me he was coming, and I rode Sportsman A, and I was drinking a beer on the line trying to sober up, and he walked up, looked at me, shook his head, and walked away. Dad, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I won't drink this weekend, and I'll do a lot better than last year. XC2, it's going to be Linden, Cody, Barnes, and either Rui or Witkowski.
Teammates now.
Homies. Yeah.
I got XC2.
3 teammates. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about Cody, too. Cody's just such a sleeper. Like,
yeah.
You don't hear a lot about him, but he's always up there. He's always on the podium or right off the podium, like 4th, 5th.
I can't believe he's not dead after Ironman. Wreck at Ironman, him and Gus getting into it, going up that hill. Wild. Anyway, don't need to start on that.
Dude, him on the overall podium at US Sprint this past weekend.
Yeah, he won John Penn last year, too.
Yeah.
So that's my prediction. Linden's going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to say Linden's going to win that one pretty decisively.
Yeah. Ooh,
I think people will
challenge. Is Gus racing this weekend?
I think people will challenge for wins. I think Gus will be a good one. I think Gus
wins Coker.
Mason Simmons, if Mason Simmons stays healthy, he'll be up there.
I think Mason's going to be 4th or 5th this week.
I think Witkowski will challenge for some wins early on. I think Cody Barnes will be in the mix. I think Rui will be right there. He's been riding good. But I would say Linden wins it. And I say decisively, I mean that he'll have some ups and downs. Like, I don't think he's going to go 12-0. But I think that he's the clear favorite in my mind.
Yeah. So, XC2, XC1.
Tough to call.
I don't have the slightest idea. I think Ben Kelly's going to be 3rd.
Overall or this weekend?
I think he'll win the championship, for sure. Ben Kelly wins championship.
You think Ben Kelly wins the championship this year?
3rd this weekend, wins championship this year.
I don't think so.
I would I have a crisp $20 bill in my pocket, and I don't know how the fantasy works, but I'll throw it down if I can make more on it at the end of the year.
I like Ben. Ben dominated last year. Um, I had a compound tib fib fracture and a rod through my leg. Ben had a compound tib fib fracture rod through his leg. I had a shoulder surgery to repair my rotator cuff and labrum. Ben had a shoulder surgery. I don't know what kind of surgery he got. I don't think technically he's probably even cleared for the shoulder surgery. And then he said himself at Sumter that the leg bothered him pretty good. And I remember how I felt at that time frame after my leg, and now I just broke my leg again. And so I don't know. I think it's going to take a few rounds for him to get settled in and for him to ride like he didn't have those injuries.
Yeah.
And I'm basing that just off of Sumter, like what he said in his race report from Sumter and how he did at Sumter. I hope he comes out and picks up right where he left off.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tough to do at first. And I think if everyone stays healthy this year, it's going to be a pretty competitive one. Like, I think that if you're not in it by the time the series goes north, I think you're out of it.
I'm going to curveball you here. Johnny Gerard wins. Big buck.
No, hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Is that what we were talking about? I thought we were just. I'm sorry.
No, I was just Johnny Gerard. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Johnny, Stu, Ben this week.
Johnny, Stu, Ben this weekend.
Yeah. Grant.
Let me ask you this. If Ben Kelly wins, does he still get credit for breaking the record for consecutive wins? Because he tied it with 6.
In my heart, yes.
I mean, realistically, why wouldn't he get it?
Yeah. It's. I don't know how they're going to read those rules, but in my mind,
consecutive races, then that's the consecutive win record.
If he wins Big Buck, that'll be gnarly.
If he wins Big Buck, then technically he has won 7 races in a row, which would be the record.
Yeah, I think
he's at 6.
Yeah, they're tied at 6, right? Who else got 6? LoJack?
I think so. Or Summers.
Probably LoJack. I think Johnny Drawer wins.
I was going to say, for the championship, I think I'm leaning towards Johnny G.
I don't lean towards Johnny for the championship.
If he can stay healthy, well, now he's got all this stuff going on with his elbow.
Yeah, it's a really shitty situation because literally, I feel like I say this every time. We're buddies with all of them.
Yeah.
So everyone's gonna listen to this and be like, "Hey, cocksucker, why didn't you think? Why don't you think I'm gonna win?" I think Johnny's gonna win Big Buck. And I think he definitely will win a championship. I just don't know if it'll be this year. I think Ben's gonna win this year. And I think Stu's going to get second this weekend.
I hope Ben is up there, and I hope he's contending for a championship. I would want nothing more than to see that. I just like I said, dealing with those 2 injuries myself, and then seeing how those affected him through his words after Sumter with just his race report and stuff. That's the only reason why I'm not saying it outright, especially after what he did last year.
Yeah.
Johnny, like you talk to any of them dudes down at Ranch Russell, and they talk about how fast Johnny's going. And I don't know, it's just that's kind of just what I've been hearing. But I don't know, it's also tough because Stu's last healthy season, he came all the way down to the wire for the championship after really missing 2 rounds, 1.5 rounds at the beginning of the year. Missed Big Buck and then got, I think, 8th in Florida or 5th in Florida. Didn't have a good race in Florida. It was still in the championship and won the majority of the races in 2021. So I think Stu can be a competitor for sure. But I also think, like, Stu's got a lot on his plate right now, dude. He's team manager. He's, getting sponsors. He's racing the bike. He's helping test and tune the bike. And he's training people at the shoals and leading that whole thing. But I think there's no way to say he's not a contender.
Oh, he is. And I know I just said that I think Ben Kelly's going to win. I think if Stu wins Big Buck and Stu wins maybe not Florida, but Coker and like I think if Stu wins Big Buck this weekend, and Stu wins Big Buck number 2, he good chance he'll win the rest of them. I think up north he's real fast.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I think just how Ben Kelly is, same mindset. I don't talk to him a whole lot, but I mean I seen him. We were at Josh's a couple weeks ago. I mean, I talked to him a little bit at Sumter. I think Ben Kelly will win again. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking. But if Stu gets a little bit of a train going beginning of the year, it's gonna be hard to beat him.
Yeah.
I think Johnny's gonna win Big Buck. I know all of those things kind of did not work out together at all. Like, doesn't make sense to say them all at the same time. But I think Johnny wins Big Buck. If Stu wins, it's gonna be hard to beat him. But I think Ben wins championship. So 3 predictions that collide 100% with each other. But that's what I think.
I would say if I was outright betting, my bets would be between Stu and Johnny. It's going to be tough to win a championship rookie year, but talking to Johnny on the show a couple weeks ago, dude, he's feeling good. He just had his son. Clicked off 2 Sprint Enduro wins so far this year. He's got on the new team. Everything that he's gone through to get to this point in his career, I don't know. And just like I said, the way that other people talk about him, the way that the other pro riders are talking about him and how he rides, and like I would like to say that that's probably a dark horse predicting him to win it his first year, rookie year. But yeah. But I mean, you also got like Thad. Thad can put together a race IQ and make it through the year. Strang, if his arm and everything is all good. I mean, the last GNCC that he raced, he won. So I would always like to say that Strang is a contender.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Jordan is the defending champion. It's hard not to talk more about him, but I don't know. It'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Hard to seeing all these guys this weekend. Kind of hard to sit here and say, "Hey, I think you're going to win. I think you're going to win this weekend. You're going to win the year." And all these guys are sitting here who could also win. And you're like, "I'm probably wrong."
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. Yeah. Then again, Strang could come this weekend and smoke everybody's ass, and then it's like, "Hey, Craig, screw you. Look what I just did. Predictions are wrong now." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right."
I mean, Grant, too. Grant's on a new bike. And
yeah, that'd be
as I
interesting to
mentioned,
see. He smokes everybody at Sumter. It'd be very interesting to see him a Big Buck.
2 of his competitors said that he's going to be impossible to beat at National Enduros almost, and if he could ride like that at GNCCs, he'd be tough to beat there, too. So, I mean,
yeah, it'd be a ripper.
You never know. Like, he could just get on that bike and completely gel with it.
Hope he does.
But yeah, it does suck going into the predictions because buddies, like you said, we're buddies with the guys. So, if you are listening to this, don't take it to heart. Still love each and every single one of you. Still rooting for everybody. I wish everyone could win.
Prove us wrong this weekend, I guess.
But
and point at me and laugh. Make sure I know that I screwed up.
I want to see Trevor have a good year. Bollinger have a good year.
Yeah.
Craig DeLong, second place in points last year. What a bummer he doesn't get to run the number 2. I would be pushing for it, but
Running 2.
They got to run their career numbers.
Yay.
Over on those steel frame machines.
That's gay. Unless it's number 1.
Do what?
Unless it's number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the word I would use to describe it, but yeah, I don't know. Either way, it should be an interesting season, and hopefully everyone stays healthy, and we get to see some good racing.
That's the plan. Be there Friday.
Is there any special stuff going on this weekend?
Yeah, anybody who's interested in some On the Pipe podcast merch, we'll have some there.
Oh, yeah. We'll have some OTP merch. Not a lot. I don't have a lot.
Have enough. Enough for beer money.
I'll have something.
I'm not drinking.
I'll probably have some shirts, maybe some hoodies. I got some hoodies.
I need to buy a hoodie, actually.
What else? Zach Tussle will be down there. If you have been on the fence about getting a hold of Zach Tussle, he will be on site. You can shake his hand, talk to him, and figure out what it is that he's all about.
Yeah, I just actually went and met with him last Friday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
through On the Pipe podcast?
Through On the Pipe podcast. I went. Very helpful, and that's the route I'm going. And happy to say that it's going to set me up so when I'm old, I'm going to have some money.
That is the good thing about it. And he actually represents a lot of several riders, pro riders. So.
Yeah. Super smart dude.
Yeah. If you're interested in that, get a hold of me. I imagine he'll be probably parked somewhere around us. But if not, we'll schedule a time to – because a lot of people have said something about meeting up with him. So it'll be a good opportunity to meet him in person at a race because he's one of us.
Yeah, like even talking to him and kind of told me everything, all my options. And I'm like, I asked him, I said, why doesn't everybody do this? He said, literally nobody wants to come meet. Nobody wants to spend a little bit of money to have a lot later. It's a no-brainer. And it is. I mean, after going over it with him, I mean, it makes no sense not to go talk to him. The guy's hooking me up.
Dude, the same thing I said to him and the same thing my brother just said to me. We were just talking about it. But I think when people hear financial advisor, they just think it's for rich people. Like, you got to be rich to have a financial advisor.
Or they think your financial advisor is going to get rich from you.
Yeah.
It's not the case. I mean, it's very smart.
A little bit now turns into a lot at retirement age. That's what it's about, really. Putting a little bit in now to build up the future.
Catch me at 60, absolutely throwing money. Throwing money at Razzles in Daytona.
There you go. Well, cool, Craig. Thank you for your time coming out, hanging out with us, and basically saying that the entire XC1 class sucks besides Ben Kelly. That was cool.
Hey, well, they don't want the smoke, so they're lucky I don't show up. Big Red Craig show up on the 350 or a CR500, and there's going to be contracts getting thrown. So child support checks getting
make it this far and you're upset with our predictions, I'm sorry. Love you all.
Sorry I cussed.
But anyway, with that being said, we hope to see everybody out this weekend at the Big Buck GNCC. We will be out there, and then racing season is fully underway. Can't wait. Craig, thank you again for your time, and we'll see you next time.
Happy to be here.
See ya.